Hello and welcome back to the channel, the place where we celebrate film photography one roll at the time, even when the weather and our expectations completely fall apart. Today I'm heading to Peak District for film photography day trip, walking from Castleton up to Mam Tor while juggling 3 cameras and hoping it doesn't rain. Spoiler, it rains. But that's part of the fun with film photography. Adapting, improvising and pretending is fine. At the top of Mam Tor, landscape looks inviting and everything feels like it might go according to plan. Again, classic mistake. First up, the Mamiya Press 23. This is a medium format camera that's roughly the size and weight of a small toaster. Not the most practical choice for hiking, but it produces beautiful negatives. Of course, I brought not one, but 2 film bags. One insisted on hanging onto a roll of Pan 100 and I loaded the other one with Kodak Portra 800, which is great for most lighting conditions and also a great way to spend a lot of money very quickly, and the weather was still okay at this point. For something a bit lighter, I brought a Voigtländer Bessa R, which is a 35mm rangefinder. Most of the photos today were taken with the 21mm Voigtländer Skopar lens. Halfway down towards Mam Tor, the weather does what British weather does the best. It starts raining. Portra 800 in Mamiya Press suddenly feels out of place, and this is the time to switch to black and white film, because if you're going to struggle through bad weather, you might as well make it look dramatic. And therefore, for the black and white shots, I used Ilford Pan 400, pushed 1 stop. Pushing the film to ISO 800 gives you more flexibility in darker conditions like rain and heavy cloud. It also adds extra contrast and grain, which works with moody landscapes really well. Pushing film basically means underexposing it in the camera and then compensating in development. The result is grainy, more dramatic look, perfect for miserable weather. So now I am heading back to Castleton in the rain, juggling cameras and trying not to slip on wet rocks. But shooting film in bad weather adds some excitement. You're trying to keep water off the camera, avoid fogging the lens and somehow still focus manually. But the upside is the atmosphere. Low clouds, dark hills, wet stone paths. It all looks fantastic on black and white. And with the 21mm Skopar you can really capture the scale of the landscape and the dramatic sky. Wide lenses are great for this kind of environment because they exaggerate the foreground and make the hills feel huge. By the time I make it back to Castleton, something happens, the sun comes out, so I load Kodak Gold 200 to capture the warmer light. Suddenly everything looks colorful again, golden light on the buildings, dry stone walls. It's almost enough to make you forget the rain, almost. Not every frame worked, of course, that's part of shooting film. Some shots miss focus, some exposures are a bit off. But the ones that work make the whole day worth it. If you're just getting into film photography, here are a few things this trip reminded me of. Always check the weather, then assume it will change anyway. Bring both color and black and white film, it gives you options when the light changes. Wide lenses like 21mm are great for landscapes. Don't worry about every shot being perfect. Film is about experimentation. And finally, don't be afraid of bad weather. Sometimes it creates the most interesting photos. So that was slightly damp film photography adventure in the Peak District. Whether you're shooting with medium format brick like Mamiya press or a small 35mm rangefinder, the most important thing is just getting out there and shooting. Film photography isn't about perfection, it's about the process. And occasionally coming home with a photo you're proud of. If you enjoyed the video, consider liking and subscribing for more film photography adventures. Keep your film dry and your expectations low.